Hello, everyone, and welcome to Your Hometown Solutions. I'm your host, Jean Newell with Waterview Realty, and in the studios with me today is my co-host, Jonathan Lack. Hello, Jonathan.
Hello, Jean, and thanks for having me back.
Yes, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was very nice, family-filled, and ate too much as always.
Yeah, that's true. We're coming into the holiday season, but we wanted again to remind everyone that we're here as your consumer advocate about real estate. If we don't know it, we will find out for you. We have all the facts. I always say to people, I know all the answers, Jonathan. I just don't know what questions they go to. Anyway, Jonathan Lack is the owner of Waterview Title Services, LLC. He's also the co-owner of Lack & Lack Chartered Attorneys at Law, specializing in real estate contracts. And he also is the broker-owner of Waterview Realty Services, LLC, in Melbourne Beach. And if there's a question out there about real estate, I really feel 100% sure that you, Jonathan, could answer the question, because you can wear all those three different hats, and you know everything from starting the procedures to right in the middle of the procedures with the Lack & Lack Chartered, as well as closing. So we're really happy to have someone in the office with that lawyer hat on.
Well, thank you, Jean. I do like to try to be a one-stop shop with regard to all of your real estate needs. And what I pride myself on is if I don't know the answer off the cuff, first of all, I won't give you a wrong answer.
Exactly.
Many people will just tell you something, and it's not often correct, and I end up down the road having to correct that. So if I know an answer, of course, I will give it to you. And if I don't, I will get back to you immediately with the correct answer.
It always surprises me how many people, especially because we're involved with talking to various brokers and real estate agents and other title companies. And as I've been in the real estate business, I think during the horse and buggy era. I told this on the air before. When I started in real estate, this is how far we've come. We used to have to look at the woman buying the home with her husband, let's say, and if she was employed, we would have to ask her, or we'd have to make the determination if she was within childbearing years. Because if she was, we could not take her income as qualifying. Does that seem archaic?
I think we need to introduce Carolyn Wolf,
Yes.
certified mortgage planner, so she can express her shock and awe at that statement.
Welcome, Carolyn, again. Thank you for joining us with your knowledge on mortgages. Carolyn Wolf is with Certified Mortgage Planners, and she must tell you her NMLS number to be official before she says anything. So go ahead, Carolyn.
Thank you, Jean. Carolyn Wolf, and license number is... it's my NMLS number at 268538.
I would like to say I do. We've spoken about this in the past. I teach a contracts class to the real estate agents in the area, and it's a 4-hour class. I'm almost on a monthly schedule now, so I'm teaching it fairly regularly. And it always amazes me. We were talking about questions, and I always take questions after the class. And a young lady came up to me and said her broker told her, and it was a clause out of the contract, and it was exactly wrong. I mean, and she said it with such confidence, and I'm like, I understand and respect it, and I don't want to step on your broker's toes, but... And I pointed to the clause in the contract and explained it to her. So it is very important to understand unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation out there. And of course, if you're trusting the person providing it, then, there's not much to be done if you trust somebody and they give you misinformation. But do be aware if something doesn't sound quite right. Feel free to give my office a call or any trusted professional. You can reach me at Lack & Lack Chartered, area code 321-953-5115. And I'll always attempt to answer any questions you have, but there is a lot of misinformation out there, and it's important we quell that here on our radio show.
And before Carolyn goes into some mortgages, I want to point out something quickly, is if someone, we don't always need a real estate agent as myself or a broker, but sometimes they need the services of the attorney or just the title company. It all depends on their situation on selling. Give a couple examples on why they would need to call an attorney as opposed to calling a real estate agent.
Well, real estate agents, the purpose of a real estate agent is to either sell your home or find you a home. They represent either a buyer or a seller looking for a home or looking to sell the home. And the primary purpose of a realtor, a real estate agent, is to put a buyer and seller together, to find a buyer for a home or to find a seller or find a home for a buyer. And once they've done that, that's their primary function. Now, of course, at Waterview Realty Services, as well as many other quality brokerages, there will be value-added service. Your real estate agent will assist you throughout the transaction, check on the dates for you, make sure your title is ordered and surveys are ordered and inspections are ordered. So not to suggest realtors don't do a substantial service to their client, but the primary function for which they charge the real estate commission, which is on average here in the state of Florida, 6% of the sales price. Their primary function is to put a buyer and seller together. Sometimes a buyer and seller have already come together. Your friend, your neighbor, somebody contacted you to buy your home, or you want to sell your home and you already have somebody who's interested in buying it. You don't need to pay a real estate commission of 6% in order to get your home sold. You've already effectively put a buyer and you found a buyer. You don't need the assistance of an agent. And as a real estate attorney, I can prepare the contract, obviously. I teach the realtors how to do so. So we can prepare the contract and get you to closing. And we attorneys typically charge a flat fee for their services. I don't want to put a quote on the air because we all have different fees and it is different depending on the circumstances. But it is usually a flat fee, and it is usually substantially less than 3%, much less 6%. And we will do all the functions of a real estate agent short of finding you a buyer for your home. So if you've already done that, you don't need the service of a real estate agent.
Right. And sometimes title, they might need to call the title company. Maybe they're selling their home to their children, and they just need to have the title issued differently and recorded differently.
Well, that's again related, a little bit different, because the title company is pretty much the hub of a real estate transaction. The buyers and the sellers typically come to the title company for closing. When there's a loan involved, the lender sends the funds to the title company and the title company disperses. So the title company is actually sort of a hub of any real estate transaction. As a real estate attorney, I can act as a closing agent or title agent, wearing my attorney hat, or I usually use my own title company, Waterview Title Services. But I can wear both of those hats, and attorneys can act as closing agents and or title companies can act as closing agents. But again, if you've already got your buyer and seller together, that's the primary function of a real estate agent. So if that function has already been done, then seek out either a real estate attorney or a title company can assist you with the closing. The advantage of having an attorney is sometimes there are legal matters such as, let's say, probate, or maybe it's a distress situation with a foreclosure or other circumstances. Maybe there's title issues, and therein a real estate attorney will be better able to represent your interest to get you through a smooth transaction. The title companies can prepare the paperwork and can assist you with it, but don't always have the depth of knowledge and expertise that an attorney does. Which
brings me to the next point. Now we got to bring Carolyn in the conversation because she's a vital importance here for this particular show. If they just want to find out where they stand, they can give you a call, and sometimes on the phone you can say, yes, you need a lawyer's assistance, or no, you could go right to title, or I would advise you to go ahead and get help from one of our real estate agents.
What I consider the advantage is that you can call me and I can put on whichever hat's appropriate. So if you're calling me as an attorney, but turns out you don't need an attorney, then I'm not going to charge you attorney's fees. And if I can handle a title closing, I will. If you already have a realtor, great. If not, and what you really need is a realtor, then I'll refer you to one of the agents of Waterview Realty Services. So it sort of is a one-stop or one phone call does it all. But yes, the issue is there are different services provided by the different servicers, real estate agents, title insurance companies, and or closing agents and attorneys. And we have a lot of overlap in the services we provide, but there's also differences in the services.
That's why I like about having them call you or myself is we can tell on the phone what we'd ask the question, why are you selling? And if they say, well, I lost my job or I'm having trouble making my mortgage payments, we can, instead of going out there and going ahead and selling their home for them, which most agents would do because they don't know about the Florida's Hardest Hit program, which we'll just talk quickly about. You had a big seminar last week, but it's still in effect. And tell us a little bit about the Florida's Hardest Hit program once again, and then we're going to get Carolyn in here on the conversation.
All right. The Florida Hardest Hit program, as we've talked about in past shows, and as you point out, we had at the Goodwill Industries, there was a workshop that taught about the program. However, that was just to put the word out there, and you can still learn about the Florida Hardest Hit program by going to my website is lacklaw.com. That's LACKLAW.com. And there is a link to the Florida Hardest Hit program on the website. So if you go to lacklaw.com and click on the Florida Hardest Hit logo, it will bring you to their website and give you substantial information about the program. It is designed for unemployed or underemployed homeowners. So if you've lost your job or have had to take a pay cut of at least 10%, the state of Florida, with federal money, but the state of Florida will pay your mortgage payment for you for up to 12 months or $24,000. Now, there, of course, is some eligibility criteria, but it is an excellent program that I recommend you look into if that suits your needs. But what you were getting to, Jean, which is what I pride our office on and educating my realtors at Waterview Realty, as well as anybody who answers the phone in our office, is to find out what the facts are from a client. Just because they call looking to sell their home, as you point out, they might be trying to sell their home because they're in distress and they feel that's their only alternative. And it's not always the only alternative. Sometimes we can the Florida Hardest Hit program may be able to get them back on their feet and they wouldn't have to sell their home. Or there might be loan modification programs, or the HARP program, which is the refinance program if their credit is still good, but they have, they're upside down on their home. Mm-hmm. There's a principal reduction program. So if you owe more than your home is worth, so you're thinking I need to sell the home because it's just not worth paying for it because I owe more than it's worth, there is federally funded state money through the Florida Hardest. It's called the Florida Principal Reduction Program, and there's money available to reduce your debt at no cost. So there's a lot of programs, and we like to listen to our clients, find out what they need, and then provide them with what they need, not always necessarily what they called in for.
Exactly. Right. So that's why we also like Carolyn Wolf. That's how I segued right into that, Carolyn, because you are one of those people, like our services at Waterview Realty and Lack and Lack Chartered, that can represent a lot of different companies because you're a broker, and we've talked about that in weeks prior, that there's a difference between a banker and a broker. Doesn't necessarily cost any more to go through a broker, and you have a lot more inventory of products that are out there for them.
And actually, it can be less.
Yes, because when I tell my clients this, and this isn't I'm sure the legal thing to say, but I always say if you walked into, the First National Bank. I don't think there's a First National Bank anymore, so I can say that if you walk into the First National Bank as a consumer and you have your checking account there, you might not be able to qualify for their mortgage package. Mm-hmm. But they also have, and the back door has the wholesale part of the mortgages that you can get involved in. Sometimes they go to you. You still can go through the First National Bank, but you're getting it at a different rate sometimes, or a different package, and qualifications may be a little different. So, and sometimes the people sitting there getting the mortgages at a bank don't ask the right questions that you do. So they say, no, you don't qualify. Right. But in reality, they do qualify for that particular loan or something else out there.
Right. Or a lot of times what can happen, and that's one reason why I like working with you, Jean, over at Waterview Realty, and with John over at Waterview Title, is we all are kind of from the same mold. We ask the questions and we probe up front so that we can better service our clients. Right. I've had many a times, too, where somebody has called me at the last hour in desperation because they were approved and they've done the appraisal, they've done the inspection, and they're getting the moving truck, and now all of a sudden the underwriter says no. And I could tell them in 5-minute conversation that should have been
caught
in the very beginning, mm-hmm. correct, that mm-hmm. they weren't quite ready. And, here's the steps. But, a lot of people just don't ask the probing questions and find out. And just like John said, sometimes you don't need to sell. You have different programs for that. Sometimes you do need to sell. And also a good point, and one reason why I like working with you is if somebody's listing their home with you at Waterview Realty and you want to make sure that they qualify